data can be sensitive, using AI and ChatGPT, which has many benefits, but how can you ensure the data is secure, not accessible? And I'm going to ask that to, yeah, please.
Yeah, we've discussing this a lot, and it's also the reason why big companies are very careful in implementing, for example, upgrades of their call centers and combine all data together and then expose them somewhere, because this is like, first it's like ethical problem for, I would say, most of the managers that we are talking to, that no one is really like crazy in this, because the threat for the brand and for the reputation of the company is enormous. Everyone is watching these days. And you don't want to say, I am the first one who screwed this up and I've sent all the data to someone else, and now I have all the legal issues I can imagine. So I'm happy that those are the question, and it's not just one question in this area. I think this responsibility is important. However, we can't stop the advancement in this area, so we need to find out how to go through. And as we said, and as Rata said in the very beginning, definitely always talk to your lawyers, but not just to your lawyers. Really work hard in order to understand what's happening. Just one tip for everyone: whenever you are looking on those SLAs, it doesn't matter what is the service provider. Always read what are the potential punishment if the SLA is broken, because that's our typical example is if you are not a large enterprise with a specific deal with the vendor, very often it says something like, if we violate this SLA, we won't charge you for the service during the time of the violation of the SLA. And that's all. So the SLA is very nicely written, your lawyers will be happy, but the real possibility to somehow use it in your favor when the failure comes is very limited, because everyone is trying to lower the risk. So if I would be an OpenAI, and I'm not, and I don't know any much details and so on, I don't want to blame anyone, I would definitely ask my lawyers to write the terms and conditions in a way that if something go wrong, I will somehow be able to say, yeah, I told you so, so your problem. So really the carefulness here is important, but more important is to give this a try and find the right way, and there is always chance to anonymize something. Your engineers definitely talk to your engineers. Important jobs to also navigate you how to limit the risk on your side and how not to tell ChatGPT and the APIs everything you know about the people, and look for the solution, not for the reasons not to do it.
I actually were nodding there. Do you want to add something with that? No, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, no, I agree. I mean, SLAs are, I love an SLA. I read them all the time. So next one. As Italy has now banned ChatGPT due to privacy concerns, do you believe this might affect further developments? Do you think more governments will do the same? I will ask that to Alex.
So I think, first of all, I think Italy now reinstated ChatGPT, but there's going to be a lot of regulation happening in the future for new technologies like this. But overall, I believe that this will continue as governments want to regulate more this let's say use of AI in order to be used responsibly. But I think in the future we may see some waves of let's say more intense regulation from governments. But in order for a new technology to work, for me, I believe it has to have human feedback. So it needs to go to humans, and then we'll see if it can be used. And also, ChatGPT and OpenAI have invested many billions on this technology. They have the means to actually regulate it. So for me, if any technology is to come to the market, it has to be used and it has to get human interaction and human feedback.
Okay. Tanya, do you want to add to that? No, it's fine. Okay, yeah.
For the ChatGPT, and I can't really tell Italy what to do. Yeah? It's quite a strong country, so I don't want to mess the relation with Italy. I like to spend the vacation there. However, for the large language models, it's not just the GPT. Yeah? The power of GPT is the ability to train on top of very large data set. But one of the way how we tackle this problem of data privacy is that there are other large language models that can be used, and you can have the training process under the control. But the issue is that they are not that good as GPT at this moment. But it's just the issue of the scale and ability to train on those and having those large data sets. So I think this can easily happen, that you will have something which is under your full control inside of your infrastructure, and the data doesn't need to flow to someone else's API, and this will be the game changer. But in order to succeed, you need to start right now and somehow work with the current limitations, because when this comes, this will be the immediate time to use your old data and do all the innovation very fast. But you need to be prepared. So that's the motivation why I'm saying definitely go forward, work with your legal experts, and later this will pay off once this will be solved, that you don't need to send your data elsewhere.
Great. I think Vrata's got something to add to that.
It's super early, but it seems that like the open source world is around one generation behind of the cutting edge. So like now the reports, like it's not scientific, but like the best open source models is not nearly as good as GPT 3.5, but kind of getting there. So we really don't know what happens in half a year or a year, but there will be definitely a competition for like lower cognitive tasks, not for the super hard stuff, but for lower cognitive tasks. There will be probably open source stuff that you can deploy on your servers, run and train there. So a lot of the privacy issues kind of disappear. So for the cutting edge, I think we will have to still go to the big companies, but for a lot of not as hard tasks, we can probably run it locally very soon.
Okay. Next question is probably also for either Jan or Vrata. So I'm just going to go on to the ethical question. I know we touched ethics, but what we didn't talk about was the safeguards. So maybe we could, what safeguards should be in place to ensure responsible and biased usage? Maybe Angie, you'd like to answer that, or if not,
anyone?
Or Tanya? Huh?
Anyone?
Anyone like to offer their opinion? No. No. Okay. I'm gonna.
It's super hard. Like the whole thing is just developing. The regulation is just coming out. And like the fundamental problem with AI is that it has inherent bias. Like you cannot have an AI without bias. So whoever trained the AI, and the data set they used inherently injected bias into the system. So it's very hard to balance that. And I think it will be increasingly a topic for the future years.
Surely you need to start thinking about that now. I mean, in terms of policing, as we were talking about the bad actors, and certainly when you're talking about medical bots and giving you diagnosis, prescribing you, what happens if you have someone in the middle? How do you police that? And also when they're globally open source, decentralized. I mean, okay, I'll stop. That's opening a can of worms. Okay, so a very specific question. Have you ever used AI to plug into workflow systems to add natural intelligence to automated processes? Anyone?
Not affiliated, but make.com has an AI node. You can just put it in and it will do the work for you. So it's already there. Every job automation system already has an AI node. So I've tried it. It works nice.
Okay, we do have many more questions. However, we are now out of time, and I think maybe that we'll find a way of taking the questions off and be able to pull them and then be answering them individually. So for the time being, I'd really like to thank Tanya, Alex, Angie, Jan and Vrata. I think it's been really educational, really appreciate your time, especially to Jan, who actually flew in this morning, especially for the event. Thank you everyone. I hope that was useful, educational, and now you have the part that you've all been waiting for, the food and the drinks. I don't know whether there's still any uplifting merchandise that might have already gone, but I once again want to reiterate, thank you so much for coming. been a pleasure having you. I look forward to meeting you in the networking session. So thank you all.